Ooh, I saw my baby in her wedding dress. She looked so good, I had to confess. It was only 1 hour from a beautiful wedding day. And I held up the procession with a little dirty obsession. I had to go in the closet and listen to Shine. Jive Talkin with Shandy. Get your heavy metal news for free from him, 'cause he's so damn good at what he do. You need more every week, and you know it's true. Oh no, yeah. Let's start it right now, here we go. There you go. That might be one of the better ones that we've ever done. If someone's jotting these down, is there a Wikipedia page made for this podcast? I mean, the stories that you could connect together with all this stuff. Welcome back, episode 163 of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo. We got a cavalcade of stories right out the gate. Exodus gets rid of Steve Zetro Souza. What? But I hope you're all doing well out there. Remember, this is 2025 in the new year, and this is the year of no fear. We do not deal in fear. We don't listen to the news every damn day, and we don't listen to this and have you heard that and what's going on over there and look out for that. And oh my God. You live in happiness, right? I can't tell you. As soon as I got out of the news, the daily news that happens every day, it's like, I understand why they only made it 30 minutes. Back before the internet and shit, it was 30 minutes. Came on at 5:30, 6 o'clock. They got in, they got out. They told you 5, 6 terrible stories, because that's what sells. And then they were out of there. And then it became the 24 news cycle. And then so it's just like at every turn, you've got something to be worried about. Well, guess what, baby? For the next hour and a half or so, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You can relax your weary head. You can put your weary little head right here on my shoulder, and I'll sing you sweet lullabies, like what I just did right there. Some of the stories we won't be talking about. Mark Tremonti, he says that Master of Puppets album is what made him want to play the guitar. Savatage are getting back together. I sure hope that's with John Oliva, but it probably won't be. Rudy Sarzo is doing a secret project with Tommy Aldridge and Brad Gillis. And, you would know them because Brad Gillis was the replacement Speak of the Devil, and we did a video about Randy Rhoads and the grisly, things that happened to him. But that's just a couple of stories we're not going to be talking about. So now you're all you're turned on, kind of, about what's going to happen next. So let's get into it. And welcome, and I'm glad to have you around. Steve Souza, and they're getting old Rob Dukes back in the band. Haven't they sat down on the Rob Dukes podcast a time or two? And he's like, boy, do I have something brewing under my... Hey! By the way, guys, you're going to hear a little rattling in my chest. You're going to hear a bit of cold going on and stuff, because I'm not going to say that it's the guy at work that was sick for 3 days and then came back to work and was still sick and coughs like... I'm not going to say that it's him, but I have contracted a bit of a head cold. Let's get into it. Let's find out what happened. This is something that, like what all the kids say now about your bingo card, right? All the kids will say, well, I didn't see that on my 2025 bingo card. I didn't see this coming. Exodus parts ways with Steve Souza. Steve Zetro Souza announces return of Rob Dukes. And these guys are like in the works on a new album, yes? San Francisco Bay Area thrash metal veterans Exodus have parted ways with singer Steve Zetro Souza and have been rejoined by Rob Dukes. And thank goodness for Blabbermouth, because they're going to remind me of what albums Rob Dukes was on. I guarantee it. That's how good they are over there. Earlier today, Exodus released the following statement via social media. Announcement. Exodus have parted ways with Steve Zetro Souza. And we call him Zetro because that's what he likes to be called. Boy, he's got a podcast too. He's going to have a few things to say about things, isn't he? We thank Steve for his years fronting the band and all the killer music we made during that time. We wish him only the best in the future and much success with anything he does. Maybe he'll be like Justin Hawkins and he'll go full time with his YouTube. Someone's going to hit him up to be in a band. Maybe Death Angel will. That's another story we won't be talking about, is Mark Osigueta going, I gave Death Angel a list of great singers that could go out on tour with him while I'm over here in the Kerry King band. Listen, pal, that's your first band. Unless you break up with Death Angel, that's your first band. You got to give Kerry King the list of great singers. Oh boy, what is Rob Dukes? Okay, hold on. Let's calm down. We wish him only the best for his future. Anything that Steve the Steve Man does, we wish him simply the best, better than all the rest. And please help us welcome Rob Dukes, the Duke Man. That's what we call him. We say, put up your dukes. How many times do you think they've made that joke in the band room? Hey, Rob, put up your dukes. We welcome Rob Dukes back to Exodus. We are beyond stoked to have Rob back, ripping up the stage with us, and he's looking forward to crushing everything like only he can. Didn't we do Rob Dukes' other band? Next chapter begins, guys. Next chapter begins. New record rolls along as planned, and the beatings will continue. See you soon, Exodus. Dukes joined. See, it is blabbermouth. It's incomparable. Dukes joined Exodus in January 2005 and appeared on 4 of the band's studio albums, and I feel like a bad person that I don't know any of them. But I had a good idea. Shovelhead Kill Machine, 2005. The Atrocity Exhibition, Exhibit A, 2007. Let There Be Blood, 2008. A re-recording of Exodus's classic 1985 Bonded by Blood. Oh, okay, I don't hear it. And Exhibit B, The Human Condition, came out in 2010. So, Sousa's been back 14 years with them. It's the Exodus that I know best. I know Paul Bailoff, and my years as a young youth, was spent with Steve Souza, listening to that music. The thrash metal legend in June 2014 announced the departure of Dukes and the return of his predecessor, Sousa, who previously fronted Exodus from 1986 to 1993 and from 2002 to 2004. So they've had their ups and downs with old Sousa, where they're like, dude, why won't you just wear a mask on the bus, on the plane? Is that what it is? Dukes addressed his then relationship with Exodus in June 2022 interview with Scott Penfold of the Loaded Radio podcast. Now, you're going to know the name Scott Penfold from maybe this, but I know it from 120 Minutes on MTV. That was kind of your alternative videos. If you got Headbangers Ball was for the heavy metal heads, and then for the kind of the 90s Smashing Pumpkin fan, Concrete Blonde, stuff like that. That was, or is that Matt Penfield? Never mind. We're moving on. Loaded Radio podcast. He said, when Exodus fired me, it took me about a year to not be angry about it. And I'm a big dude. It was unexpected. I didn't see it coming. It was a hard time in life. I'd just moved. I'd gotten married to my betrothed, to my beloved. It was a heavy burden. And it took me a while. And about a year later, after Gary Holder, Exodus guitarist, called me and we spoke on the telephone, they flew me up to San Francisco, and I sat down with them, and we laid it out on the table. And it made it better, just to clear the wreckage out of the way. Get all that wreckage out of the way, clear it. I lost my place. Then I moved on with my life. And they moved on with their lives too, I do dare say that. I did one show with them. I did a few songs up in San Fran. And then I just started living my life. You got to live your life. You got to get out there and live your life. You can't wait on others. You can't hope for things if that doesn't work out that way. Dukes went on to say that I no longer dwell on the negative circumstances surrounding my departure from Exodus. Exodus was definitely part of my life. But I don't rely on it. So I just moved forward. But our friendship is good, man. I went up there to see after Tom Huntington. Oh boy. Got sick. We're not saying that word, the C's. In 2021 down there. We were talking the entire time and I was aware of his situation. And then, when the time was right, and only then when the time was right, only then, after he had done some chemo sessions, was feeling a little better, I flew up and spent a couple of days with Tom. And I saw Gary. He was in between the many things that he does. Gary, he's Slayer. He's trying to get him to change the name to Slary. And I went and had lunch with Lee Atlas, Exodus guitarist. Look, man, we lived together for 10 years. The bond is very difficult to break. Especially when the reason I got fired, okay? Especially when the reason I got fired, it wasn't personal. It was business. I took it personally in the beginning. But this is harsh business, man. This is a very harsh business. There's a lot of fucking snakes out there. I agree with you, Rob. I agree. And there's a lot of weird people, too. There's a lot of weird people who want their little piece. They want a little piece of the pie, a little piece of the action, a little piece of the meat, a little piece of the little taste. And that's kind of what happened. So what he's basically saying, and I'll read between those lines, is that the businessmen were saying, we got to get Soiuza back. We can't dig up Paul, so we need Soiuza back in here to get those numbers up. And now that the numbers are doing really good, they're going to be with Rob Dukes because that's who they really want to be with. 3 years after he was fired from Exodus, Dukes performed with the band during a 2017 concert in San Francisco, California. He sang several songs with the group on the second of Exodus's 2-night stint at the Chapel in what marked the band's first headlining Bay Area club show since the late 2013. Pay-per-view conversation. What? Rob previously discussed his split with Exodus during a December 2020 pay-per-view video conversation with Soiuza, recorded earlier that month at Zetro's studio. Really, Zetro? In San Francisco Bay Area as part of Soiuza's Zetro Toxic Vault YouTube interview series. So he's putting them under a pay-per-view type of situation. Welcome back, Rob. If you did an interview with him on YouTube and you can't watch it and you got to go pay for just that video, welcome back, Rob. Let's get into this. I feel ashamed because this should have been the breaking story of last episode. What is this, 163? 162. AC/DC, the young lads, Malcolm and Angus, their birthright, their birth home, was demolished. And there's a new documentary investigating it. I feel like that would just be a news story, maybe a solid 5-minute news story, but they're going to do an entire documentary series investigating who dozed it. And they could call it Who Dozed? Yeah, let me have a sip of this and we're going to get into it. You'll be so happy with it. And look at those faces too, Malcolm and Angus there. Even those faces say, oh, who bleeding bloody did it? Malcolm, we just need to find out who did it. Malcolm's passed on. Rest in peace to Malcolm. Let's find out. Tom Capoganani, a video producer at Sydney Morning Herald. Oh, they're Australian, that's right. In Australia, has published an 11-minute documentary investigating the childhood home of Angus and Malcolm Young of AC/DC. Australia's greatest cultural export was demolished by a Sydney property developer. They got to make the condos. Big business, baby. Business suits big business. We got to make the fucking condos. Charge $5,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, but we got to make the condos. But this is the home. This is the birthplace of AC/DC. One of the greatest rock bands of all time. We got to make the condos 55 plus up. Age limit to move in. Sorry. The video features excerpts of Campagnani's 2 previous documentaries on AC/DC Sydney heritage. Oh, he loves them. Including interviews with former bandmates Mark Evans, Noel Tate, and Rob Bailey, who share their memories of spending time at the Young's family house in Burwood during the 1970s. Burwood Mayor, even the Burwood Mayor, John Faker, also provides insight into the local connection between AC/DC and Burwood. Additionally, the documentary uncovers new material shedding light on why 4 Burleigh Street, that's the name of it, 4 Burleigh Street wasn't recognized as a historical site of immense cultural significance. That's more than 11 minutes, I feel, to break that down. Why was this house not marked off? Someone can quilt something from the 1800s and you put a fence around it and say, someone quilted the flag in there. You know the flag that you have up in your front yard? The first one ever made? The lady did it in there. I'm really pissy right now. Get that off. I'm really pissy right now. Let's get back to the business. A step that was never taken. They didn't do it. According to the Herald Sun, that's a good name for a newspaper, the home was bulldozed after it was purchased by a developer in February 2023 for odd $5.8 million. Approximately, you got to be kidding me. Australian money, $5.8 million is only, in American dollars, $3,638. Oh, God. AC/DC is rich as hell. If they're taking them American dollars and changing them into that, they're quadrillionaires. The house was listed on the National Trust list of historic homes in 2013 after becoming a pilgrimage point for fans of the legendary hard rock band. Malcolm and Angus lived in the house as teenagers when they were forming AC/DC, along with their brother George Young. Yeah, George played a part in all of that. I think he played a little bit of bass there for a little bit. And I was on the Wikipedia reading about it. And I think there was something behind the name AC/DC too. It wasn't, but I can't remember. A guitarist from the popular rock group The Easy Beats. Although the house was listed on the Australian National Trust Registry in 2013, it did not receive historical protection to prevent its demolishment. It's demolished. If you put it on the register, then give them the funds. Following a 2015 review, Burwood Council order did not recommend a heritage listing, explaining that the band's period of habitation was too brief to be relevant to the life and work of AC/DC. Horseshit. You give a building to somebody who was born there. They ran around, started a band, ate food there. They lived there for a long time, not just born there. Some people are born into a house that's famous, and you care about that. And then they move 2 years later, so they only lived 2 years there. Burwood Council's review also concluded that the home does not meet the criteria for aesthetic significance, nor did it have any known technical or research value. You see how they treat heavy metal, everybody? In a statement, Burwood Square Party Lieutenant General Manager Leon Kmita, Mita is the K silent, Mita, said the company had only found out about the property's musical history after it was knocked down. On behalf of the team of Burwood Square, I want to convey a heartfelt regret that we have only just learnt of the cultural significance of 4 Burleigh Street, the former home of AC/DC's, whom Malcolm and Angus Young, one of music history's most iconic bands. I'll say it again clearly. The band that lived at 4 Burleigh Street was iconic, historically iconic bands ever. We now recognize how deeply this location resonates with the AC/DC community and fans worldwide. As we developed plans for this space, we conducted due diligence, including consulting heritage registers. That's where they were, dude. They were in the register, don't you remember? And collaborating with experts in the field. Unfortunately, the historical connection to AC/DC was not identified at that stage, and we regret that the previous long-term owner did not share this vital part of the property background with us. That dude wouldn't shut his mouth about it being AC/DC's house. I can tell you that right now. Anyone that listened to the guy that lived in that house for all those years, he was telling everybody. He put it in that when he tried to sell it for 4,000 American dollars, he put in there, by the way, AC/DC lived here. That's enough of that. We genuinely are sorry for this oversight. Learning about this connection after our plans were already underway has shocked us. We feel a strong responsibility to honor AC/DC legacy and to make amends to all of the fans for whom hold this band in such high regard. All right, we're not going to read no more of his horse shit. I've had enough of him. Max Cavalera, really quick, he's going to defend the reason why they're going to redo all of the albums. The Sepultura albums. That's where you say the name in Brazil. Sepultura. I've had Brazilian fans say, thank you, Shane, for saying it that way, because that is indeed the proper way to say it. Max Cavalera defends re-recording of early Sepultura albums. It was a chance to do it again. But do it better. In a new interview with Australia's, I wanted to go and see AC/DC house. I could have easily bought it for $4,000, but I didn't know. They did not put it in the ads. When I look at the house, I just saw the guy was selling the house, but he didn't put in there that it was AC/DC home. Australia's heavy. That's whatever that is, it's good. Website, magazine, pamphlet, zine, whatever it is, it's good. Australia's heavy. Former Sepultura guitarist, vocalist Maxi Cavalera, spoke about why he and his brother, former Sepultura drummer Igor, the Igor man, Cavalera, decided to revisit their earliest Sepultura releases, Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation. They're going to do them all and record them and put them out, along with re-recording versions of guitarist Andreas Kisser. I've been calling him Andrew, and I apologize about that. Mr. Kisser, I'm sorry, I've been calling you Andrew Kisser or Andre Kisser. It's Andreas Kisser. First album, Sepultura Schizophrenia, he said, is transcribed by blah, blah, blah. He said, hey, why do you want to talk to me like this? It was kind of like a chance to do it again, but do it better. Kind of not really fix the mistakes, kind of, because I think the mistakes were kind of cool. But make the stuff sound better. We had a chance to have a better guitar. Oh, don't you do that now, Max. You're trying to say something about Andrew Kisser. Don't do it. Better drum sound, a better studio. We went to the place where the Beatles do it. You know, the Beatles making the records. Who's that place called? That's where we want to go to do it. For Beneath the Remains, we're going to go where the Beatles did. Make a stuff sound better is what we want to do. We had a chance to have a better guitar, better drum sound, better studio, surrounded by knowledgeable metal people that know how to record this stuff. None of those things were available when we made those records in Brazil. We were on our own. The engineers didn't know what to do. And it was like no man's land making these records in Brazil. So, we had a chance to redo them. And redo them the way we envisioned them to sound. But you didn't really envision them any old kind of way when you were young. You were just like, let's just get in there and rock. And then when you got the mix and master, you went, fuck me, that's good. There wasn't a whole lot of envisioning in the early days. I'm just saying for all bands, you're happy as a clam to get in there. It ain't but 9 months later and the album's out, you go, you know, that bass is too damn loud. Even as the kids, we were hoping to get the sound that we got on their re-recordings. This is what we were shooting for in the first place. So it's really cool that we get a chance to do that. A lot of bands, they don't get that chance to try it over and try, and they fail. They don't keep the energy and the anger of the original. We kept all that in check. I mean, but I'm sorry, but I love records when they come out and you put them out and that's it. And then when you do remakes and redos and stuff, my heart is connected to other things. So I think that why a lot of people love the re-recordings, man. I haven't heard them, to be honest with you, okay? The fans freaking love it, the re-recordings. And it's really well received around the world. Asked if he thinks those early Sepultura albums would have been as well received had they been as well recorded back then in the 1980s. He said, we never had a manual how to do this. We did it on the fly, they call it. It's like doing something just sporadic. And so you do it on the fly, they call it. You're going to wing it. They also say that. You do it on the fly or you wing it. You're just going to do it by trial and error. And that's the beauty of the records. They were full of stuff that really comes out of nowhere. Like what I was thinking when I made this riff. This riff is crazy. Igor, listen to this riff. I said, what the hell was I thinking? But it's beautiful, man. It's cool. Quit doing that. Anytime I swing this thing over, am I just being a little I'm just going to say it, bastard today. I feel like I'm being a bastard. Mama Diablo somewhere's going, yep, you are. No. Let's get a little bit more here. As an older person, and I am indeed a little older now, but you can also say wiser. No more winging, no more off the fly. I'm much more wiser. I was a kid, it's an incredible feeling. You get to do this. I feel very fortunate, me and my brother. We were able to celebrate our past through these albums and get to play them live for people. It's an incredible feeling. Sepultura fell apart in 1996 with the exit of Max after the rest of the Brazilian four-piece split with the vocalist guitarist's wife, Gloria, as their manager. Max's brother, drummer Igor, stuck around with the group for another 10 years before leaving Sepultura and reteaming with Max in Cavalera Conspiracies. And we have done them on the first listens, and guess what? We've got another one coming up in a week or two or three. Let's get on to this. Erik Gronwall. We haven't heard from him in a while. Did you read his book? He wrote a book. He's like 30 years old. He wrote a book. His autobiography. See, there's one of them coughs that I will not blame on anybody. I will not blame people. No more. I will not be judgmental because I learned a really interesting thing. When I'm agitated in my mind or thinking about somebody else doing something else, and you call them every name in the book, you reckon, dirty, reckon, buckin, shuckin, reckon, reckon, you're calling them every dirty name in the book. You're just holding on to that. They don't know you're doing it. They don't give a toot that you're doing that because as soon as you get around them or whatever, you act normal. Oh, yeah, whatever, I'm stopping the judgment. I'm stopping all that shit. I don't think I was ever really a judgmental kind of person, but I'm just stopping it. I'm keeping my mind in the happiness zone from here on out. I'm pretending it's fucking 1989 again for the rest of my life. Although 87 had some great freaking records to come out that year. Ex-Skid Row singer Erik Gronwall. And I would have loved to have stayed in the band. This is like, because Skid Row is reading this interview, and it's like young lovers that break up in high school. And they know they're meant to be together, but they just don't stay together, and they go off and they make love, passionate, deep love with other people. All the while thinking, I sure do wish I could make passionate love again with Erik Gronwall and Skid Row. That's all I'm saying. In a new interview with Finland's Chaos Sign, very good, very reputable, former Skid Row singer Erik Gronwall has opened up about his decision to exit the band less than a year ago. Is this really old? Says January 14, 2025. The 37-year-old, he's 37, wrote an autobiography. You know what? I'm 52, okay? I'm going to be 52. And I don't have anything to write into my biography. This guy's 37 years old. He's had a wonderful freaking life. The 37-year-old Swedish-born musician was diagnosed with acute the big C, in March 2021, the little C. Announced his departure from Skid Row in March of 2024, saying it had become increasingly difficult to prioritize his health and full recovery as the lead singer of the group. Addressing the circumstance that led to his exit from Skid Row, he told the Chaos Sign, leaving the band was one of the toughest career decisions I've ever had to make. I loved being in that band. I loved being in that band. It didn't hurt waking up being the lead singer of Skid Row, But I would still be in the band if that was an option. See, they're salivating over there. Snake Sabo and the guy earring the nose, they are salivating at this. I left to respect the person who went through the leukemia. I mean, the person at the hospital, he explained. I promised myself that I would always put my health first. And that's what you should do. So I'm with you, Erik. And when I felt like I couldn't do that being in Japan, I just had to make the decision. I loved my time with the Skid and Zetro. I had so much fun with those guys. We clicked right away. And I would always look back at the time with them and smile from ears, earring to ear. I will smile until that would also be in my second autobiography, 37 to 57. I promised myself I would always take care. I loved being in Skidding and Zetro. I had so much fun being with those guys. We clicked right away. I will always look back at my time with a big smile for sure. And I would have loved to stay in Japan, but given the circumstances, we just couldn't find common ground in terms of how much we should tour. That's the situation. Is they want to tour endlessly, and he says, hey, let's take a little break from time to time. They would rather say, let's find somebody else and keep touring and then let the little fella get better, and then you go out and rock the stadiums. Let that dude get involved with a second Skid Row record where he can write, where he's got his little finger noodles in there writing some tunes. Okay? Gronwall went on to clarify that he was also open to continue with Skid Row if an agreement had been reached regarding how much time to spend on the road. I'm not sure if this has been said in any interviews, but for me, it was never about not touring at all. I just wanted to have more time in between to recover. So my suggestion was 3 weeks on the road, and including travel, and then 1 month off. 3 weeks on the road, including travel, and 1 month off. That doesn't sound unreasonable to me. Erik? Just to have time in between, but they didn't find that feasible. It's because they've purchased things beyond their control. Is that disgusting? I got something on my lip there. There better not been some oogie boogie sitting right there for 5 minutes and someone's just not going to say anything about it. Let's see. I mean, Skid Row has been doing this since before I was born. They have a recipe. I totally respect that they didn't find out a feasible at all. But it was what I needed, and here we are. According to Erik, leaving Skid Row has given him a lot of freedom to pursue other projects. I won't stop being an artist. And we did that video where him and his friend are drunk at that bar, remember? And he was doing an acoustic thing. Go find that video and watch it if you haven't. But him and his buddy on guitar, whom, they got drunk and had a good time. He was talking about his book. I won't stop being an artist. I can pretty much do whatever I want. And I like that for myself. I'm not signed to any label right now. I don't want to be. I like that kind of independence, freedom. Maybe there will come a time when it makes sense to sign with someone, but right now I'm doing everything from my home in the beautiful highlands of Sweden. And so I go out on the grassy knoll. I look out over the hills and I see the beautiful wind blowing through the long, long grassy areas. It's nice to wake up, just go downstairs. I pour myself some coffee. I get in here and sing.
And then I go to the next room here and recording the video and put it on YouTube.
I think he does have a YouTube channel.
It's kind of convenient.
All right, that's enough of that. I don't want to get in. We'll stay, Erik. We're going to stay surprised on your future plans. It says as for he plans to release his new music, Erik said, and we're going to keep that a big surprise to our brains. Quickly, Tommy Lee is going to tell us about quit promoting your damn tours while we got a big LA fire going. But I guess Motley Crue may have been pimping their tour as well. And then we've got Robin Zander's going to sing the honorable and respectable national anthem. I wanted to watch that, a little bit of that, and then we're going to get into your comments. So Motley Crue, and doesn't he look like that Coffee Talk lady?
Get out of here, darling.
He looks like a very rich, wealthy old woman that lives in a high-rise penthouse in New York City. He says,
"Oh, darling, we must get your nails done, dear. You are looking trifle."
I mean, if you trim the mustache off, and again, guys, if you're gonna do the chin, the thin chin beard, what do they call that? It's crooked, Tommy. Your little whisker biscuit down here on your chin that goes up under the lip. I don't know what. I know that soul patch is just this little plump bit of hair that sits right under the lip. But then when they take it down, but he's done and it's crooked, Tommy. Motley Crue's Tommy Lee blasts musicians for promoting tours and album releases during the Los Angeles wildfires. Just don't do it, Nine Inch Nails. They canceled the tour announcement or something because of the fires. Maybe that's what Tommy's all worked up about. Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee has blasted musicians for promoting their tours and album releases while wildfires, those words are uncomfortable together, while wildfires have leveled areas of Los Angeles, California. With one of the worst natural disasters to strike California in the history of the United States. Are we saying it's a natural disaster? I thought there was a guy with a propane tank that was going around and doing it. And isn't it coincidental that P. Diddy's house burned too? Isn't that coincidental? Anyways, on Monday, January 13th, the 62-year-old musician took to his Instagram to write, "Makes me fucking sick, dude, to see most people just carrying on and posting. You're just carrying on and posting on lame ass social media. Are you out there with a bucket? Guys, right now nobody gives a flying fuck when your record drops or next concert is. When so many people are in the middle of one of the biggest disasters of all time." He added, I get that some comic relief is always needed, but Jesus Christ, leave it alone. And maybe just stop and see who needs help if you can. Well, that's good. That's a good sentiment. I agree with him on that. I hope that Tommy was out there with a bucket or his hose or something, doing something. You know, what do we say about Tommy Aldridge? Remember when we talked in that Randy Rhoads video that we did, where he was the guy that jumped out of the bus. He, you know, when Randy Rhoads' plane went into the tree and then the bus, the tree, and then into the garage, and it burst into flames. Tommy Aldridge was the one to grab an extinguisher. It's kind of the same thing here. Sure, Tommy wasn't going to put out any fire with that extinguisher, and Tommy here and Tommy Aldridge, Tommy Lee. But Tommy Lee, he's not going to put the fire out with a bucket. But you got to get an Instagram of your wife filming you bitching about them selling their records while you're dumping water on something. On a burning mailbox or something. Not to make light of this. My heart goes out to you if you've lost your home or pets or family or anything in that thing. Okay? According to NBC News, is that Stone Phillips? There are 24 known deaths, rest in peace, from the wildfires that broke out in Los Angeles region on January 7th as winds with gusts up to 80 miles per hour or more turned fires into firestorms. The fire department will tell you that. They say, what's the enemies? When fighting a fire, what are the enemies? And they'll say, well, first and foremost, it's the fire. That is enemy number one. The second is wind. That is enemy number two. And every fireman will tell you that. I bet we got a fireman or two. Get in the comments. I like to think we got a couple firemen that listen to my podcasts. And they go into the damn burning building and hear me. Elsewhere, Disturbed's David Draymond condemned social media. And he said, what we need to have right now is the sound of silence. He condemned social media users who derived pleasure from the misfortune of the victims of the wildfires. No, that's never good. He wrote on Instagram, there are people on this platform cheering on the destruction caused by the Los Angeles fires, delighting in the misery and misfortune of others. Nothing justifies this. No reason. No cause. Nothing. Absolute scum. The lot of you. He really puts them out. He really lets them have it, doesn't he? Several high-profile rock musicians have lost their homes to the one of the. Oh, I'm seeing Iron Maiden down here. I don't want to see that. Their homes to one of the Los Angeles wildfires, including Primus's Larry Lalonde, Iron Maiden, Adrian Smith, Spirit Box, Josh Gilbert, he's formerly of As I Lay Dying. Yeah, they get out of there, don't they? The ever-growing list of bands that get out of As I Lay Dying. Among the musicians who were forced to evacuate during the fires are Rage Against the Machine's Brad Wilkes, drummer, and Anthrax's Scott Ian. I think he's been through 2 wildfires now, hasn't he? I want to say I heard him in an interview once talking about running down the street with guitars in his hands or something from a wildfire. The Recording Academy and Charity Foundation and Metallica, side note to this, because I am a great newsman, you have to admit it, is Metallica donated $500,000 to the LA Fire Relief. NAM Foundation, Sweet Relief Musicians Fund. Yes, indeed. That's enough of that. Okay, let's look at this real quick. There he is. Oh, say can you see? So he's got a Buccaneers scarf on. And he's got a Buccaneers shirt on. And I'll bet you that blue thing that's underneath the long sleeve is a Buccaneers thing too. So I'm going to say he's singing, Robin Zander's going to sing the national anthem in hopes that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win over the Washington Commanders. Cheap Trick frontman Rob Zander sang the U.S. national anthem Sunday night, January 12th, ahead of the game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Commanders at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Video of his appearance can be seen below. And I want to see it. So here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. For the singing of our national anthem, please welcome the lead singer of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Cheap Trick, Robin Zander.
Rob, sweetheart, put your hand up higher.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed.
Gotta go low. Start low.
At the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes lights and bright stars.
Orbs.
Through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed.
You know what's crazy?
And the rocket
I'm going to stop this just for a second. And boy, oh boy, I hope I can restart that. But it's got to be weird for a football player to hear this, because it's a touching rendition of that. But they just come out of the locker room where the coach is going, you got to go out there and I want you to twist their heads around and kill them. You got to kill them, you sons of bitches. If you got to tear them to bits. Then you got to come out, oh, see. And you got to get tender again. And then you got to get right back to the coach yelling at you, tear the guts out. I want to see the innards.
It's red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
I love Robin.
Through the night, then our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Give you a little. God, I love him.
Land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh, the land of the free and the home. He's an older gentleman. You know, that's, of course, if you don't know who that is, Robin Zander, that's Cheap Trick. I set it up here, didn't I? Cheap Trick, Robin Zander. So there you go. Let's get into your comments. That's right. It's time. It's the best part of the podcast. Your feedback. Let's do it. Oh, that went down the wrong hole. Mr. 69 and Mike Buchanan coming in here. This week's movies that are bad, but we love them anyways. Can't believe I messed that up after all this time. Comes from your video by Psychotic Symphony. Yes, we did that. That was from a Bad Channels movie. I Give You Bad Channels, 1992. This is a movie I haven't seen since the 1990s. Wow. What a flashback. Hilarious and awesomely bad horror, fair from the full moon. Yes. Maybe someone will mention, because full moon's come up before and I can't remember the guy's name. Charles Band, is that it? Company, Full Moon Company, about a ridiculous looking alien and his cheap robot assistant taking over a shock jock's radio station and capturing random busty babes via the radio signal, shrinking them into tiny Barbies and putting them in space canisters as pets. The shock jock is trapped inside the radio station with the alien and broadcasting everything that is going on in the frantic nature, a la Orson Welles. Okay, but no one believes him, regardless of all the UFO sightings. Green goo, boy, this is timely, isn't it? Johnny B's with me. Green goo harming people and girls randomly disappearing in front of tons of witnesses. This film is pure camp and a lot of fun to watch because of its bad acting, silly alien effects, and occasional music numbers. It's with these musical videos that the movie shows its pure brilliance. Hence the video Shane did that got us to this point. Bad Channels has ties to 2 other movies that are bad, and we will get to them in the future. Okay, Jive Talkin videos. Future Jive Talkin videos. Stick around for a post-credit scene. So for now, grab your favorite beverage, sit in your favorite chair, pop some popcorn, and press play. Okay, now he's got Mike Buchanan's got Scott Lips here, and I opened up YouTube and I saw the guy, and I went, okay, that is definitely not Lips. Scott Lips is associated with the band Hole, from what I can gather. You're thinking of Steve Lips Kudlow, yes. So I was pretty close, right? Steve Lips, Scott Lips. I would imagine that a lot of musicians hang out there hang out together while on tour, or if they just or if they just so happen to be in the same place together. Mike Buchanan says, going to be watching James Hetfield's Western, The Thicket. Oh, okay. He's answering my next question because he knows. I'm going to be watching James Hetfield's Western, The Thicket, as I just discovered it's on Tubi. That's a free channel. Anyone can get it and watch it. You don't have to sign up for nothing or anything. It's great. I love it. Which has a tie-in to your show, Yellow Jackets, in the form of Juliette Lewis. That's the actress's name. So there's your little fun nugget of the day. She's in it too. She's good. And Mike Buchanan says, dude, you are making my brain hurt today. The book you are thinking of is called The Illustrated Man. That's the Ray Bradbury. Yes, written by Ray Bradbury. Happens to be one of my all-time favorite authors. The book came out in 1951. There's a movie that came out in 1969. Why do I want to say I come across that in some way and thought, is this from that book? I don't think I watched the whole thing, but okay. I'm hoping what's left of my brain cells can handle the rest of your podcast. On with the rest of the video. And Mike Buchanan says, do you have the time to listen to me rhyme? And now that's stuck in your head. It is. That's the song from Green Day when we were having a hard time figuring out what it was. Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? That might have been my favorite tune from them. You don't have to get in the comments and tell me what it's called if you don't want to. And now that's stuck in your head. And indeed it is, and it will be. Believe it or not, I actually do pay attention to your podcast, even if I happen to be working around the server room or just listening. But I will stop what I'm doing, jot some notes to write my comments later. That's a great way to do that. It's like research for Shane's Jive Talkin series. See, that's what I'm talking about, is the callbacks. Is that what they call it? But I will stop what I'm doing, jot some notes to write my... Okay, I read that part. The most used word in Metallica's song is never. Again, another fun nugget for you. Are you kidding? That's great. Off the never lying. What else is there? Never to begin whipping dance of the dead, blocking, yeah, all right. We can keep going. Straining the brain today, Shane. Thanks a lot. Ace's smoke comes from, okay, he's talking about Ace's guitar. Ace's smoke comes from what is called a smoking pickup. It's all wired to those knobs on his guitar, so we had something there. When turned on, it's powered by a 9-volt battery. If you ever want to see it, just look up smoking pickup guitar on the interweb. Really? He didn't lock that down? The inside of Ace's guitar is shown, and it doesn't look like the inside handles the smoke very well. Huh? And now, it's time for your Jive Talkin' Jokes of the Week, provided by the 69er, Mike the 69 Buchanan. And how do you know how heavy a chili pepper is? Give it away, give it away, give it away now. What do you call a reluctant potato? A hesitator. When my wife told me to stop impersonating a flamingo, I had to put my foot down. That's pretty good. Did you hear about the man who was addicted to frozen dinners? Yep, that's right. He quit cold turkey. Man, some of them are rough, right? And finally, where do cows go on a night out? To the movies. And when they come home, it's past your bedtime. Or another note, what movie did the cows see? The Cudfather. Okay, I'll stop now. Very good. I feel like that was well done, well put together. Oh, we got Christian Haynes coming in here. You might know him from a little Christian metal band. Are we calling you that? Yes, we are. Torn Sky. It says, excellent keyboard jam, Shane. Are you only listening to the beginning? Let's see if he gets this message. If you have any ego at all, you're going to wait till the very end to hear me read your comment. Excellent keyboard jam, Shane. Love Jive Talkin. All right. We'll see. Lars. Well, I love this right here. Oh, we got one heart received, 3 comments. Lars van Kopernol. That's the greatest last name ever. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. If Darkness Had a Son. Oh, there you go. From the latest Luxa Turner record is as far as I know, the only Metallica song with the word if in it. And if I'm being honest, it's the first time I've listened a full episode of Jive Talkin', and it was freaking funny and interesting. Oh, this guy's getting a thumb. It was funny and interesting at the same time. Most of the time, I tune in to listen and watch your intro, where you find Rudy Tooties, explore the keys of that keyboard. Keep on going, Shane. I will keep on going with checking out your channel. There you go, Lars. Come on. There you go. And you get a thumb for those compliments. Miss Althea, the wonderful Miss Althea here coming in. The Dumbstruck Fool says, Carrie King and Metallica. This is her take on this right now. One of the Slow News Day columns. I refer to James Hetfield as a high school geometry teacher. Well, he wants to teach them numbers. Instead of English, he says, Muriel, I've got to teach the children the complex numbers in a Pythagorean triangle. Or maybe I said algebra. Okay, so geometry or algebra. Anyways, it's mathematics. A couple of times. And speaking of James Hetfield, you were thinking of The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury, collecting lots of little words. Okay, yes, so she's talking about the book, and then now she's got in the quotes from James Hetfield. He collects them little words, the pile of words. Collecting lots of little words and how they fit together. Sounds like he might play a lot of Scrabble. And yeah, I guess he could pass as an English teacher too, but I see him more with math. That's understandable. You know, I just, those tender eyes just tell me he's got to get the words to the children. Miss Althea on Rocket Mafia, of course that's Ricky Rocket's fine band. They're kind of a, they're fresh, high energy, but with a splash of a 70s kind of a feel. Rocket Mafia still don't know why they are getting away with the band logo. Because it looks like The Godfather. And there hasn't been a copyright infringement suit filed on the part of whatever entity holds the ownership over the Godfather franchise. Now she's going to talk about Mick Sweeta. Mick Sweeta was also... Was it Mike or Mick? Was also in King Cobra. Oh, by the way. I read this so terribly, Miss Althea. Mick Sweeta, was also in King Cobra, by the way. Okay. Miss Althea, and I will just read this through and not stop. Miss Althea on Ace Frehley. I do need to go. Ace Frehley, I also find whatever is going on with his hand disturbing. Those little plump veins in there. It's a little too former heroin user to me. No further comment. She's leaving it there. Miss Althea on pretty versus beautiful vocabulary debate. I guess I will play devil's advocate as a female here. The words are indeed synonyms. I would and do take either a compliment. I would and do take either as a compliment. I do not mean that to sound conceited or bitchy. Not to rattle any cages, but I think any woman who would take either definition as an insult and in turn spew out something like, what, I'm not hot, indicates a level of insecurity, I agree, vanity, what have you. Outer beauty is not an indicator of inner beauty. You can be the hottest woman in the world, and I agree with this. You can be the hottest woman in the world on earth, but if you carry an attitude like that, you're kind of ugly. Cue the Gazette song "Ugly" for the soundtrack. Not a request. I know the rules, darling. Miss Althea on Stephen Piercy, topic revisit. Yes, I have told the story about, okay, he was rude, just for all you that are not here all the time. I seem to cut off the comments a lot, but I'm trying to keep people going, I don't know what they're even talking about. Previously, Miss Althea had stated that Stephen Piercy was rude, so she's going to tell us now. Yes, I have told the story about him being rude to me in the comments of a video, but I don't remember which one because it was a while back. The Reader's Digest version is that when I met him in 2017, he refused to take a photo with me. The nerve! Yet, he was all too glad to accommodate a blonde, big-boobed millennial. I said out loud and to his face, "Really, bitch?" I mean, I know you said it to him, but you could have said it to both of them. But he was so damn snotty that he didn't care in the least. I met Juan and Warren DeMartini on the same occasion, and both put him to shame. They were absolute sweethearts. Hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Get yourself a Diet Coke if you know that song. Baby, we can talk all night, but that ain't getting us nowhere. That's another little taste for you. Get yourself a Diet Coke when you figure it out. Big Tony coming in here. He says, my daughter has worked with Juliette Lewis and said she's incredibly grounded and is a very nice person, not full of herself like a lot of them. Great JT, Shane. Then he gave up the heavy metal emoticon horns. Great to have you. Great comments. And Johnny B coming in here. The actor you were speaking of last week was none other than Juliette Lewis. She's been in a ton of movies and is extremely talented. But do you know who her father is? Who's your daddy? The one and only Jeffrey Lewis. Who's that? You'll know him when you see him. I think he's best known for his role as Orville Boggs. Oh, I don't know. I thought, for some reason, Orville Boggs, I thought it was that one guy. Hey, what's that movie by the Farley brothers? Buster Skaggs, something. Buster Skaggs was a country band, wasn't it? The best pal of Philo Beddoe. Oh, maybe I do remember now. Because I know Clint Eastwood. Right turn, Clyde. Yes. I think I'm knowing the face now. The best pal of Philo Beddoe, Clint Eastwood in Every Which Way But Loose. You turn me every which way but loose. Yeah, he had that orangutan. He was best friends with him, Clyde. They say, right turn, Clyde. And Clyde would punch someone in the face, and I'd go, "Oh, he's a monkey! Punch that man!" Talented dude, and the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. Yes, indeed, she's great. I'm kind of losing my interest in Yellow Jackets, to be honest with you. There's 8 episodes left, and they give you the trailer where they're just going to town eating human flesh. And they haven't done it yet. Spoiler alert. In episode 8, and they're still not there to eating people yet. And so I'm like, well, there's only 10 episodes. But then I remember Juliette Lewis was unhappy with her character, how it turned out at the end. So now I'm going, are they going to lay all this on her for some stupid reason? Anyways, last week I told you the tale, this is Johnny B, of 2 lovers. A forbidden love between Alan Hale and Bob Denver. Now, I said near the end that I didn't believe it, but that was until a sound clip emerged from some random morning drive radio show, Jerry and the Crazy Guy. It was one like that. And these guys were interviewing Dawn Wells, Marianne, and asked her about the incident. They said, this was all just an urban legend, right? I mean, what do you think, Crazy Guy? Why? Yeah, it's gotta be a urban legend. Jerry, it's gotta be, Jerry. It's gotta be. One of those shows like that, okay? And these guys were interviewing, yes, okay. This was all just an urban legend, right? And she said, I never said that. The story had to come from somewhere, right? So basically, she was confirming that it happened without being disrespectful to the memory of the deceased actors. Makes you think, doesn't it? Imagine the skipper being all animated, standing behind Gilligan. I want the little buddy to get one up on him. He's always hitting him with his hat and everything else. It's like, let's turn it around for a minute. Imagine the skipper being all animated, standing behind Gilligan and giving him the old, what for? Yeesh. No, the other way around. Or let him trade off, that's fine too. I ain't got to, however. But let Gilligan have a try at it. He's always goddamn to be on the top. He always had to sleep in that top, what is those things? I can't remember the name of it now. The net things you lay in. Let him be on the bottom. That's what I'm saying. Johnny B says, I never saw Maynard come out to tell us to respect the Melvins before they played, but Buzz joined them. Yes, I remember that. Buzz joined them for a pretty damn great version of Stranglehold by Ted Nugent in Kalamazoo. He also did like one of the big hits that I can't remember, but maybe it was the but I remember Buzz being out there and playing a song or two with Tool. Stranglehold by Ted Nugent in Kalamazoo, that's a mouthful, in Michigan, one evening. I have the entire show on digital bootleg that was direct from the soundboard. That's sweet. Okay, we're talking UFOs, UAPs, and stuff. This is bending some people's minds, and I'm all about it. I am all in. If they come down and they say, we need you to come back and help us on other planets, Shane, I'm saying, I'm going. Can I do my podcast every week? I'll say, guys, can you set me up with a little place so I can do my YouTube? If I can do that, I'm going with you. I'm down. I feel your pain when it comes to the UFO, UAP orbs topic. People think I'm nuts too, but it's real. If you really want a blast of reality on the subject, go and read the book. I'm reading it now, bud. UFO of God by the Bledsoes. UFO of God by Christopher Bledsoe, and follow him on Instagram if you want, and shorter version of what happened to him. Now, before I read anything that you said, I'm going to prove to you that I'm listening right now to UFO of God. And here's the reason for that. That dude had one hell of a childhood. I mean, that dude was shot on accident by a friend. He saw a big corn owl up in the thing. He ran into the woods to get something. His buddy shot him. He fell off a 4-story building he was building. I mean, this guy was, he's got irritable bowel syndrome and shit. I mean, the guy has been through hell. Now, I'll get back to your comments. So now you go. You can tell everyone, say, the guy that does that podcast that I listen to, he is listening to that book. I'm listening to it. I'm not reading it. It's the audiobook version. The guy that's reading it could, hit or miss. If you want a shorter version of what happened to him and his experiences, the episode of the Danny Jones podcast that features Bledsoe is very good. And the reason why no one is reporting this on mainstream media is due to all the misinformation that comes out with the sightings. With every one valid and legit sighting, there will be a dozen or more that are fake. Yes, I've seen a lot of the fake ones. And it's hard to sift through what's real and what isn't. So in order to avoid all the criticism and finger pointing, the mainstream media stays away from it. But if you're involved in the community and know who you can trust and who is valid, there is really good footage out there that's compelling. And that's the thing. It is very compelling. And the crazy thing is, go back and watch any documentary on UFOs right now. Pick one, random. Just pick one on seeing UFOs. From the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. You just pick one. You will hear the same stuff that's going on in the skies right now. I saw these. Before you thought they were completely crazy kooks. Now they're out everywhere, all over the place. I'm seeing them in Israel. I'm seeing them in Kuwait. I'm seeing them in places I can't even say. But I'm all in, and I love it. I love it. It brings a lot of things together. I ain't gonna lie. You could make an argument for why, we're not going there. I already have half my friends going, he's fucking crazy, dude. He's losing his mind. He lost his mother. By the way, Mom is downstairs on the, I guess you'd call it an armoire. I don't like calling it that, but I would say the dresser downstairs. Beautiful urn we got. She loved turtles, so we got this nice under the sea. Make her feel like she's in the ocean. But heavy. I was surprised at how heavy an urn is. And thank God it's made of metal, and it's got a screw-on lid too, because I was like, this is going to end up bad in one way or another. A cat's going to knock it over something. And then I'm like, oh, it's sturdy. It'll keep Mama in there good. Let's go. But if you're involved in the community and know who you can trust and who is valid, there is a really good footage out there. It's compelling. Start digging. And if you need help, I have all sorts of rabbit holes for anyone to go down. It's real, and it's going to be a reality. I hope so, Johnny, I hope so. I want that so bad. I want to be living in the freaking bar of Star Wars. That's what I want. But you're on the subway, and there's a Vlorkoid there, and a Zam there, and anyways, sorry. Thank God we're to the end of this thing, right? Somebody's cut out. They said, dude, I can't do it. He's going into alien talk, and I tune right out when alien talk. I got friends like that. Start digging, and if you need help, all sorts of rabbit holes to go down. It's real, and it's going to be a reality for all of us before you know it. And it's going to be soon. I'm not crazy, and neither are you. That's getting a thumb. Because that's a compliment when you tell me I'm not a crazy person. So F the haters. Lux Eterna. And how did you do that? I think Miss Althea once explained how you get weird characters and such and stuff, but he managed to put Lux Eterna in the comment with the AE connection. Maybe a copy and paste? Lux Eterna was a direct borrow from Anima. Told you, Tool. Both Hammett and Hetfield have said Tool was a big influence for the album. Lars, of course, had too much to say about how it's not a direct ripoff, but more of a borrow. Ugh. Lars needs to concentrate on the skins and not do much of the interviews. I saw a video of Lars where, just a quick 1-minute video, but his hi-hats weren't right. And he threw us a little fit. He threw a little fit in his snare. My snare's in the wrong spot, and my hi-hats. So he stands up, and the other guy comes over and says, I'm sorry, and this is just in the practice room. This isn't on the stage, in front of the people. This is just their little practice area. And standing there like, you fool. Look at my floppy hi-hats. You know, it's like, come on, dude. You could scoot that snare and fix those. You didn't need to. But then again, someone would make the argument, hey, dude, he's getting paid for it. He's probably making $80,000 a year. Get over it. I'll tell you this right now, guys. I'll be honest with you. If I'm the drummer for a big famous band and I'm paying my drum tech $80,000, he will come over and he will fix everything. In fact, if I'm paying my drum tech $80,000 a year, I hold my hand out for sticks. And then he puts one in here, and I close my hand, and then he has to come around me to the other side, and I go like that. So I'm taking back everything I'm saying here. Johnny B says, wow, this is really long, and for that I apologize. There's just a lot to say. I think we need to make a Shane Diablo subreddit so we have a place to discuss all things that is in the podcast. I love that idea. Get started on it. Until next time, remember that 2025 is the year of no fear. Oh, is that a skull? I don't want skulls next to the aliens. But he's got an emoticon of a skull, emoticon of an alien head, which I'm loving that, the Greys, I believe, and emoticon of the heavy metal horns. Again, there's the heart, there is the thumb for those comments. Ed coming in here. Ed Vanish, yes. How many numbers you got here, bud? 22 hearts received, 75 comments. He's a good boy. Ed, he says, yeah, I love Christina Ricci. Wednesday, Adams, too, Shane. Yeah. Maybe that's where they got her for Casper. She was so good in Adam's Family, they says, we're going to make a Casper remake. We think you've got the taters for it. Mopar coming in here, 34 comments and 3 hearts received. Sir, you shall be getting it. I appreciate your channel, buddy. That's what Mopar says. And that's got 5 hearts ups. We're gonna make it. We're gonna do that. That's what. Jolly Jake Lavelle coming in here. Juliette Lewis is the actress's name. Thank you, buddy. You know, all of you could tell me. I appreciate it when all of you do. And I'm going to say it's Lancer, because I don't want to do all the X's in the middle, the L, X, A, X, N, X, C, X, E, X, R. Lancer, 7 comments, but I'm afraid there is no hearts for you. But guess what, Lancer? You're about to get a heart. You're about to get one. It says, jive it up. Jive it up. And we shall do so. Okay, you guys. The truth is out there. And I'm all about it. Oh, it's like finally some good news. Let's find its tune and go out on, okay? Maybe it's not going to be as good as that last one, but I do like this one. just got a great feel to it. All right, let's find us a good tone here. Hey baby girl, how you doing tonight? How you doing tonight? Are you feeling all right now? Did you like that episode of Shine? Nothing so sane, he's insane. He's not a crazy guy, but he's talking all that jive shine. Baby, Jive Talkin is the best podcast. Better than every podcast. Come on baby, let's hold hands and head down to the beach. Looking at the sky at orbs. Looking up, that's not a drone, it's not a drone, it's an old baby out of this world. It's a drone, it's not a drone.